How's it going, everybody? Back in the garage again, and today we are going to be tearing apart the transmission on the Sentra once again. I've already did this. I tore apart the transmission just to inspect everything, and also when I first got the transmission for the SR, a speed sensor was stuck, seized in the transmission, so kind of the only way I could get it out was I had to pull the transmission apart anyways and use a pry bar and kind of get it propped out from the inside. This video, like I said, I'm going to be going ahead and tearing apart the transmission again. Once again, just inspecting everything. I've put some abuse on that trans now, so I just want to make sure everything is good still. And also, when I sealed it the first time and put seals in there, the axle seals, one of the axle seals I'm pretty sure I knocked in a little bit too far, and I think it was leaking out of that. And also, the transmission case was cracked from, I believe the previous owner dropped it when he was storing it or whatever. And I had that welded, but I think it was still leaking from there a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and just RTV that from the inside, RTV it from the outside when I seal it back up, and cross my fingers that it stops leaking all over my driveway. I do already have the engine and transmission out of the car, as you can see. I came down here the other day, and there's plenty of videos of me pulling engines in and out of this thing on the channel. If that's something you want to see, go ahead and go back, watch some of the older videos. Here's the motor. You can see I was having a bit of a leaky fuel issue here. I know that could have been some of the culprit to some of my random lean/rich issues. Definitely seems like this one over here was the worst. So I'm happy to be changing up the fuel system and kind of getting something proper on here that I didn't ghetto rig and shouldn't leak anymore. Here you could see a while ago, I just wanted to make sure that my pulley wasn't, a couple of rocks stuck in there. I wanted to make sure my pulley wasn't skipping, separating. So I went and just marked it, and as you can see, it does not look like it's moved at all, so that's good. Go ahead and come over to the transmission. Nice and greasy. You can see this was, I cleaned this out pretty well when I put this all in here. I believe it all looked like that. You can see all the old clutch material in here. So, and I'm pretty sure, like, it's kind of greasy on the top here. Pretty sure that's what some of this grease is in here. Cause if you come over, you can't really see because it's too dark, but all around the rear main seal is nice and dry, so I don't think my rear main was leaking at all. But the clutch was getting pretty spanked. So here is the old Stage 4 XTD. You can see that's the worst one. That one has a lot of play in it, that pad there. But I believe there is a few other ones. That one, I don't know if you can see that moving a little bit. That one has some play. That one has a little play. Oh, I guess that one has a lot of play. That one's tight. That one's tight. That one's loose. So, I do not believe the pads are supposed to come loose like that. Aside from that, you can just see it was getting pretty worn down. And I also believe that that's like heat coloring, discoloring in there. I don't know how well that's coming through on the camera, but I believe there is some heat discoloration. You can kind of see on there the coloring on the back side of that rivet on the bottom part of the plate. And it was digging down. You could see here's the old fresh groove on the outside, the pressure plate, and you could see kind of how big of a lip there is in there. I don't know how well you'll be able to tell, but it's really uneven. Same thing, here's the flywheel over here. You can kind of see that center clean edge, and then it's all dug down. So I'll probably have to have this resurfaced, or looking to see maybe just how much a brand new one is, but I'll probably just have it resurfaced. I could have that done for pretty cheap. Alright, so now that I've kind of gone over some stuff a little bit, let's dive into this transmission. Okay. So I was gonna do it up on the bench, but I forgot having to take the case apart. You need a lot of room above the transmission, and that second or third layer of shelving would have gotten in my way. So I'm gonna do it here on the floor. Step one, this is kind of optional, like I said earlier in the video. The first time I tore this apart, this speed sensor was broken and stuck in here, so you don't need to take this off, but I know this removes on mine easily, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it out. And it should be, if your speed sensor is not seized in your transmission, it should be pretty easy to take out. Just wiggle it back and forth a little bit. You might need to caress it with a hammer and a screwdriver, but the tab, there's one tab with a 10 mil that holds it in there. That tab is pretty fragile if you're hammering on it, so I don't 100% advise hitting it from that. Maybe use an edge over here or something, but it should be as easy as that to come out if it's not seized in there. Step two, see how much fluid I got left in here? Because I did drain it, but I know not every little last drop comes out. Next, you want to go ahead, flip it up on its face like that. Bell housing. And go ahead and take these 6 10 mils off of this thing. Go ahead and set that to the side. You're gonna need a 12 mil socket. You're gonna want to take all of the 12 mil bolts that attach the case to the bell housing out. Go ahead and set all your 12 mil bolts to the side. They're all the same length, so you don't really got to worry too much about getting them confused with one another. Once you have all those 12 mil bolts out, take your gear selector here, go ahead, hit that all the way in. Pay attention to that right there. See it jiggle, wiggle a little bit? Make sure that's all the way in. That's going to allow you, there's a C-clip, a big C-clip around the outside. You got to get that out. Alright, there's that. That didn't take too long that time, so I'll probably just time lapse through the 30 seconds of struggle on that one. You should now be able to get it out. Although it's still wedged a little bit. There she goes. Probably heard it pop out. And now you're ready to go ahead and separate the case. You're probably going to need to give it a few smacks. There's a spot kind of over here to hit it from, and a spot right by the gear lever you can hit it from. So go ahead, give this a few hits. Okay, might have to use a screwdriver and kind of get that in there as a wedge. after some serious caressing, I finally started to get this free. Alright. Alrighty then. That's that. Alright, here is a look at that crack I was talking about that I think is still leaking. Actually, now that more that I was looking at it, the bottom of this, where is it? There you can see the weld. It actually isn't really too oily down here, so I'm thinking that most of my issue was coming from the axle seals, like I said. You can see it's really goopy all around that axle seal, and same goes for the other side. Alright, so got everything separated now. As you saw, there's the case, there's the transmission. I threw some RTV on here. Here's what I ended up doing with that big crack. I just kind of, like I said, threw some RTV on the inside, and it's better than it was. It should leak less, hopefully. Alright, we're back. It's actually been like about a week since like all the clips you just watched of me kind of taking the trans apart, resealing it. I think the last I left off I was saying I was going to just go to the car wash, clean everything up. I did do that, kind of the best the car wash could get it, at least. That does still kind of have a greasy feel to it, and in some spots didn't really get it. Same within the bell housing kind of area. It's still pretty greasy, gunked up in some spots. So before I throw this back in the car, I'll probably go over it just with a wire brush and brake clean one time, and that should kind of get the rest of it off of there. I also do have to get axle seals. I might have mentioned that. I'm going to replace both axle seals, and I need to have one of my flywheels resurfaced. In the week that is in between these clips here, I went to the junkyard and finally found, after all the trips that I've been there, a OBD1 SR20 car. So I find a lot of like G20s and stuff when I go there, but they're always the later like 00 to 02 like roller rocker ones. I never see SR20 Sentras, or especially this one was an NX 2000 actually that I found. I never really see those, so I was pretty surprised to finally find one. I didn't really have much for tools on me the day that I went, so all I really grabbed when I was there was the cluster. This is the cluster I had in my car. This is the face actually that was on this one. This is the one that was on this one. I just swapped the faces over, drilled a little hole here. Oh, we're out of focus. Come on now. So I swapped the faces over. I had to just drill the hole in this one, but as you can tell, this is a B13 cluster. Speedo only goes to 130. TAC only goes to 8,000. Not that I plan on going anywhere near 8,000. Like, I'll probably go a little bit close to 8,000 now, but mainly I kind of just wanted this one for the Speedo that goes all the way to 150. Also, actually, surprisingly enough, has a lot less miles on it. Not that that really matters to anything, but this cluster is sitting at 281, and this one is sitting at 249, which is actually a lot closer to what my shell has on it, so that'll be kind of cool, I guess. So I picked up the cluster and I grabbed this ECU because that was easy enough. I had like basically just a 10 mil on me and a screwdriver and a pair of pliers. It was a 93 NX 5-speed car, so I now have another SR20 ECU, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, so that's gonna be about it. Probably next video will be installing this stuff. I'm gonna probably try and get the parts that I need ordered for this, get the flywheel resurfaced, and get the trans back on the motor and get those back in the car in the next week or two here. So that's probably what you'll see in the near future. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time.